When a powerful villain appears in France, two teenagers are chosen to acquire superpowers granted by magical creatures in order to save the country from chaos. Today we're going to recap the story of Miraculous, Ladybug and Cat Noir, the movie. The Miraculous are magical jewels that hide extraordinary powers. Over the centuries, these artifacts have been granted to history's greatest heroes so that they could protect the world from evil forces. Among them is a Miraculous who is much feared for creating akumas, which are dark butterflies capable of turning anyone with the slightest trace of hatred in their heart into a terrifying monster. To stop it, two heroes with opposing powers must emerge and unite their skills to save the world from chaos. In the city of Paris lives a beautiful young woman called Marinette, who lives with her parents in a house above the family bakery. Her father is one of the best bakers in the city and strives to always be present in his daughter's life. However, now that she's in high school, Marinette no longer wants her father to accompany her to school, as she's afraid of being made a laughingstock by her classmates. Despite having grown up in a safe and loving home, the girl is very insecure and, thanks to her clumsy ways, causes accidents wherever she goes. As she passes a window display of Paris's top fashion houses, Marinette sees beautiful dresses, which she uses as inspiration to design her own. The girl's big dream is to become a fashion designer, but her biggest obstacle is developing the courage and self-confidence to show her talent to the world. On the very first day of school, on her way to her classroom, Marinette is almost run over by a boy on a skateboard and, while trying to dodge him, knocks over a drop of coffee on Chloe. Seeing the small stain on her cashmere sweater, the girl becomes furious and attacks Marinette. At this point, Aaliyah takes out her cell phone and starts recording the assault, so Chloe tries to disguise it and drags Sabrina into the classroom. In the school corridors, Marinette thanks Aaliyah for her help and reveals that, despite trying not to be so clumsy, she always ends up attracting disasters. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Adrien Agreste, one of France's top fashion designers, looks at the wedding dress he designed for his wife and says he would give anything to have her back. At that moment, the man looks at a piece of jewelry he found in an antique store and realizes that there is something wrong with it. At the end of the first day of school, Marinette goes to get some books from her locker when she is surprised by Chloe. The girl is there to take revenge for what happened to her sweater, but Marinette manages to lose her and runs to the library. While hiding, she spots Adrien and immediately falls in love with him. As usual, the young woman ends up causing another disaster and knocks over some books while spying on the boy. Just then, Adrien takes off his headphones and helps Marinette up. But before the girl can thank him, he leaves. The boy is Adrien Agreste's son and, since his mother perished, he has been completely ignored by his father. That day was his mother's birthday, so the boy decided to go to the town's old theater, where Emily used to perform. Meanwhile, Gabriel tries to find a way to use the powers of his artifact to bring his wife back to life. However, while talking to his Miraculous, he discovers that only Ladybug and Cat Noir have the power to do this, so his next mission is to summon them. The problem is that these superheroes only appear in difficult times. Gabriel gives himself over to the powers of darkness in order to bring chaos, and Master Wong Fu senses the presence of evil. At this point, he decides to free Ladybug and Cat Noir, but the Miraculous end up escaping and the old man has to go after them. When Marinette is leaving school, she realizes that Chloe is outside waiting for her and decides to run away. While trying to escape, the young woman is almost run over while crossing the street, but manages to get out unharmed. Suddenly, she sees an old man in trouble and manages to save him from being run over by a bus. Noticing that she has risked her own life to save him, Master Wong Fu tells her that she is the one to save the world. Just then, Chloe appears and Marinette has to continue her escape. She then hides in an alley and Sabrina leads her friend astray so that the girl can escape. While doing his homework, Adrien hears a noise and discovers that a cat has broken into his room. When the animal leaves, the boy finds a mysterious ring. After having his marriage proposal turned down, Raymond is furious and has his heart possessed by an akuma. At this point, he transforms into a monster. While hiding, Marinette finds a ladybug and soon realizes that the insect has turned into a pair of earrings. After putting them in her ear, Tiki appears and reveals that she is the Kwame of creation. She then tells her that she has been chosen to be Ladybug and save the world from Hawk Moth's clutches. When she hears this, Marinette says she is unable to take on this responsibility, but Tiki assures her that she will be by her side at all times to help her face any danger. Suddenly, the girl finds herself dressed in her new costume and discovers that her powerful weapon is a magic yo-yo. Unexpectedly, the object begins to fly and she is taken to Notre Dame Cathedral, where she meets Cat Noir. After introducing themselves, the pair hear a noise and are surprised by one of the tower's gargoyles, which sneaks up behind Cat Noir. At that moment, the superhero begins to be chased by the creature and Ladybug watches the attack without knowing what to do. Then her yo-yo clings to the statue's tail as if it had a life of its own and the gargoyle takes the two youngsters for a ride around the city. Accidentally, the creature ends up on the train tracks and causes despair among all the passengers who were waiting for the train to arrive. When he tries to escape, the gargoyle breaks the station's light bulbs and ends up getting shocked. He then chases Cat Noir out of the tunnel. Meanwhile, Ladybug is on her way to help her partner and is gradually learning to use her new battle gear. After saving Cat Noir, she sees the gargoyle being run over and, soon after, the Akuma leaves Raymond's body. Not understanding what has just happened, the youngsters wonder what that butterfly is and Master Wong Fu appears to explain the purpose of the two heroes. While Ladybug possesses the power of creation, Cat Noir holds the power of destruction and together they must defeat Hawk Moth, for it is he who is turning ordinary human beings into those terrifying creatures. When the old man disappears, Marinette is furious because she didn't accept the responsibility of fighting any evil forces and yet she was dragged into the situation. Unsatisfied, the girl leaves and Adrien realizes that he has felt something different about her. Even though he doesn't know his partner's true identity, he can't stop smiling when he thinks of her. He then decides to share his feelings with Plague, and the creature advises him not to fall in love with his partner. In Kwame's experience, the love relationship between two miraculous wearers never ends well. Minutes later, Marinette arrives home and manages to find her parents in time for dinner. Unlike Cat Noir, who is excited about the possibility of becoming a superhero, Ladybug is completely terrified of the idea and doesn't feel good enough to fulfill her mission. Still, Tiki tries to convince her to give it one more chance to improve her powers, but Marinette takes off her earrings and throws them out of the window. But seconds later, the jewels return to her and, no matter what she does, she can't get rid of the earrings. That night, Gabriel wakes up to the news that two young heroes have managed to defeat a gargoyle and realizes that his plan to summon Ladybug and Cat Noir has been successfully completed. At this point, his Miraculous, Noru, appears and begs his master to stop using the Akumas before it's too late. However, the man is willing to sacrifice anything for the chance to bring his beloved Emily back. The next morning, when she arrives at school, Marinette discovers that everyone is talking about the new superheroes in Paris and gets angry when Aaliyah speculates that the two young people are a couple. A few kilometers away, some police cars surround a bank that is being robbed by two thieves. However, what no one expected was that the robbers were endowed with superpowers that were actually also granted by Akumas. After school, Adrien and his best friend go to the amusement park and the boy asks Nino for some advice on how to win over a girl. After giving his friend some directions, Nino spots Aaliyah, the girl he is madly in love with, and accepts her invitation to go on the roller coaster. Then Marinette and Adrien have another chance to talk and the boy discovers that she is a talented fashion designer. However, the romantic moment comes to an end when the girl's father decides to show his face and interrupts the conversation. Adrien then receives a call from his father and invites him to go to the park, but instead of going there to spend some time with his son, Gabriel orders the boy to come home immediately. Just then, the two thieves show up and Chloe drags Sabrina onto the roller coaster, even though her friend is terrified of heights. While everyone is having fun, the magician uses her powers to wreak havoc in the park and gives life to the toys, which become autonomous enough to move on their own. Her partner, Mime, uses invisible bombs to blow up the Ferris wheel and Marinette decides to use her powers to stop the villains from destroying the city. Suddenly, the girl hears a baby crying and eliminates the cursed toys that are trying to attack it. However, when she picks up the child, she realizes that it's just an inflatable doll that starts to grow into a giant monster. Just then, Magician approaches and orders Ladybug to hand over her Miraculous. The young woman was about to be crushed when Cat Noir appeared and, together, they managed to block her enemy's attack. However, Magician uses his powers to make the roller coaster go off the rails while Badoom pushes the Ferris wheel away, causing it to destroy part of the city. While Cat Noir tries to stop Mime, Chloe ends up falling off the Ferris wheel and is saved by Ladybug. The heroine then goes to help the youngsters who were stuck on the roller coaster and manages to land the cart safely. Now that all the civilians are safe, she teams up with her partner to attack Mime and throw the villains far away. When Badoom's body is punctured, the inflatable doll loses air and begins to shrink. Immediately, Ladybug and Cat Noir team up to stop the Ferris wheel from continuing to destroy Paris. Badoom accidentally prevents the Louvre Museum from being destroyed and his body explodes when he acts as an airbag for the Ferris wheel. After the villains have been arrested, the Akumas abandon their bodies and unite to form a black cloud in the sky. Hawk Moth then uses the butterflies to convey his message to the superheroes and says that the next time they meet, there will be no mercy. After helping to arrest the most wanted thieves in Paris, Ladybug and Cat Noir become famous and become the most talked about superheroes in the media. In the following weeks, Hawk Moth continues to use his butterflies to create supervillains, but the duo frees all of them from the evil influence of the Akumas. As they work together, Cat Noir falls more and more in love with Ladybug. On the other hand, Marinette nurtures a platonic love for Adrien, without even imagining that he is her partner in the fight against crime. The Winter Ball is only a few weeks away and Marinette decides to ask Adrien to be her date to the party. While putting together her invitation, Ladybug's earrings start flashing and she goes to find her partner. This time, however, there's no villain trying to destroy the city. The truth is that Cat Noir wants to introduce the girl to his favorite place and reveals that it's the theater where his late mother used to perform. The boy then claims to have written a song for Ladybug and, through it, confesses his love for the girl behind the mask. As they dance together, the heroine realizes that she is also falling in love with her partner. However, when Cat Noir goes to kiss her, Marinette remembers Adrien and says that another boy has already won her heart. After the girl leaves, Cat Noir is heartbroken and Plague remembers that he warned him not to fall in love with his partner. When he gets home, Adrien finds his father and Gabriel asks him where he's been, as he's hardly seen him lately. Furious about everything that happened that night, Adrien retorts that since his mother perished, his father has never cared about him. So the boy refuses to share any details of his life with Gabriel and runs to his room. The next morning, Marinette is still confused about her feelings for Cat Noir, but decides to follow her heart and asks Adrien to the ball. However, the boy refuses her invitation and reveals that he is in love with someone else. Just then, Chloe appears and claims to be the girl who stole Adrien's heart. Hours later, while Marinette laments having been rejected, Hawk Moth begins to put into practice the grand plan he has been devising all this time. That night, the villain plans to get rid of Ladybug and Cat Noir once and for all and spreads his Akumas all over Paris. Seeing the chaos unfold, Marinette decides to ignore her broken heart and take action. It's at this point that she realizes how much damage is being done to the entire city and uses her amulet to send a call for help to her partner. However, at that very moment, Cat Noir is in his room listening to sad music as he mourns the loss of his great love. The boy is so drowned in melancholy that he ignores his partner's request for help through the ring. Then Plague appears and says that things are bad out there. Just then, Adrien realizes the seriousness of the situation and goes to meet Ladybug. Meanwhile, the heroine is fighting the Akumas alone and is seriously injured. Marinette is about to be eliminated when Cat Noir appears and manages to save her from a powerful attack. The feline then spots Hawk Moth and climbs the Eiffel Tower to reach him. However, as he prepares to strike him with his ray of destruction, the villain knocks him down and Cat Noir's powers end up being directed at the tower. Just then, the building starts to collapse and Ladybug sees her friend falling into the lake. She immediately jumps in after him and manages to drag him back to the surface. Determined to steal the Miraculous from his enemies, Hawk Moth approaches and turns the lake water into boiling lava. Even with her life at risk, Ladybug refuses to abandon her partner and attacks the villain to prevent him from harming the boy. However, Hawk Moth manages to capture her and steals her earrings, forcing Tiki to abandon her body. The man then fuses Ladybug's jewels to his amulet and his powers become even stronger. After the attack, Marinette loses consciousness and, while she is unconscious, She hears Tiki's voice trying to encourage her to continue the battle. Now Hawk Moth needs just one ingredient to finalize his plan and tries to steal Cat Noir's ring, but the boy uses the rest of his strength to fight back and lands a blow on the supervillain's face. Determined not to be paralyzed by fear, Marinette stands up and, even without the aid of her superpowers, manages to prevent Cat Noir from suffering a lethal attack. When the pair fall to the ground, Adrien loses part of his mask and his father recognizes him moments before eliminating him. When he realized that he was about to eliminate his own son, Gabriel's mind collapsed and he abandoned all the hatred in his heart. As a result, the man no longer suffers the evil influence of the Akumas, and Adrien is disappointed to discover that his father is the reason for all the chaos that has destroyed the city. When he realizes the great harm he has caused, Gabriel repents of his actions and asks Adrien for forgiveness. He says that everything he did was to bring Emily back, because she was the great love of his life. The man considered his wife to be the most important person in the universe and said that Adrien was the greatest gift the couple had ever received. Since the boy arrived in the world, his family has become even happier and more complete, but everything they had built came to an end when Emily passed away. From that day on, Gabriel was never the same. He felt completely helpless and unable to raise Adrien on his own, so when he learned about the power of the Miraculous, the man decided that he would do anything to bring his wife back. Now, however, Gabriel realizes that he has gone too far to achieve his goal and regrets all the damage he has done to the city and its inhabitants. In tears, the man asks for forgiveness for having disappointed his son and, without any resentment, Adrien accepts his father's pain. Just then, Tiki breaks free and gives Marinette back Ladybug's powers. Just then, Wong Fu appears and says that the girl is the only one capable of rebuilding the ruined city, as she possesses the miraculous of creation. After returning Hawk Moth's jewel to its master, Ladybug goes to reassure the population that peace in Paris has been restored. The heroine guarantees that she and her partner will always be there to protect the inhabitants and, with her magic of creation, in a few minutes she manages to restore everything that was destroyed. After everyone has been rescued and Paris is safe, Marinette returns home and meets her parents, who were already worried about her. That weekend, the winter ball finally takes place and Marinette gets a lift to the ballroom. As she enters, she meets her friends and asks where Adrien is. Since the last battle she fought alongside Cat Noir, the young woman has discovered that her partner and the boy she's in love with are the same person, but Adrien still doesn't know Ladybug's true identity. So Marinette goes after him and puts on her mask. Adrien immediately recognizes her and is thrilled to discover that, for all this time, their feelings have been mutual. Before being arrested for his crimes against the city, Gabriel shared his secret with his assistant and informed Natalie about his secret hiding place. Upon entering, the woman discovers that the stylist has kept his wife's body for all these years and, even after all the disaster he has caused, he still hasn't given up on bringing her back to life. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recap.